Okay, in this reading, I look at the relationship between BTS Jimin and Sang Daeun, a Korean actress that Jimin has rumored to have been dating, or maybe is still dating. We don't know. Big Hit released a statement saying that they used to date but aren't anymore. Fans have linked them together since 2022. I low-key predicted that BTS was going to have a dating scandal in this video. Anyway, today we're going to see what the relationship dynamic is between those two. I also already recorded this video, but that was before Big Hit confirmed that they dated. So that video was all around if they dated or not, which I got yes, and it was a yes, whatever. Anyway, I might release that video IDK. I've attached take 1 to the end of this video, so the last 20 minutes are that, if you're curious. A lot of the info repeats, but also there's more info on what Jimin is like in relationships, allegedly, and what could happen between them in the future. With that being said, everything I say is all alleged and for entertainment purposes only, and with peace and love. And let's go! Okay, Jimin is going to be on the left. Daeun is going to be on the right. And this is the energy in between. Jimin showed up as the magician, which is like having everything you need to manifest. It's a pretty positive card. It can talk about like feeling capable or like being able to make something happen. She got the Knight of Wands, but her card is facing towards him or rushing towards him. The Knight of Wands can be protective, but it's also about like action or activity, especially because Wands is like action, but Knights are also usually really actionable. They're usually like there's movement in the card. It's about building. It's about passion. Oh, and the energy in between is the Six of Pentacles, which is like an imbalance and uneven of giving. She still feels very passionately about him. He feels smug. I don't know. Respectfully, I don't want to, I don't want to upset the armies, but he, like, in my mind's eye, I see him very vividly, and he, like, looks smug almost. Or maybe I'm misreading that emotion, because it could be, like, I see him, like, smiling in, like, a satisfied way and almost kind of, like, laughing to himself, you know? The energy in between, though, is literally, like, an imbalance, almost like giving and taking, but it seems almost like he has the upper hand for some reason in that, or at least the relationship is unbalanced in some way. Part of me kind of suspects she is doing these things, like releasing old videos of him, or, you know, making like comments, or like replying to comments and stuff, because she wants his attention, or to grab his attention in some way. I think she still really cares about him. Oh, that's so interesting. You got the Two of Swords, which is making a decision blind. Moon is unconscious. She got the 2 and 2. Oh, and the Tower in the reverse position. I don't know if I've already mentioned this, but I did this reading before. I still have it. I might upload it. I'm not sure. But anyway, in that reading, it was sort of like they kept getting like similar cards to one another, but they meant different things. So it was sort of like I get wands, you get wands, but the meanings were very different, which can sometimes indicate that like they're not necessarily on the same wavelength, but there's like a connection. It's hard to explain. It's in a way on the same wavelength, but it's not necessarily like vibing. It's not necessarily like we're getting along. Anyway, but 2 and 2, which is like two things coming together, but it also can be two things like separating, especially because you have the swords right here, and they're moving away from one another. They're like crossed, but they're facing away, and hers is in the reverse position. Whatever. For him, he also got this card as a second pull for his pile in the reading. But sometimes this can talk about willful ignorance. That was the thing that I got last time, was like he feels, I think Hybe made a statement, right, saying that they used to date. And so I feel like he is not acknowledging this. I think he knows why she's doing this. I think she maybe is like limited in what she can say now. Like Hybe or Big Hit or maybe Jimin himself has either talked to her directly or maybe like there's like a legal gag order or something, so she can't be quite as like overt or direct, so she can't like leak videos of him, for example. There's something about that, but she wants to, and she still might in a way that gets around that or circumnavigates that. But this is like willful ignorance. Jimin, again, in the last reading, I mentioned that he seems like satisfied or like happy that she's doing this. Not happy and like, oh good, but more happy and like, this is funny to me. That was something that was so, I might upload that reading because you'll get the context of it. Anyway, but it's sort of like he feels smug and like still he feels very like satisfied that she's doing this. Like it's funny to him. It's entertaining to him that she's sort of crashing out. But she got the Two of Wands in the reverse position, which is like not being able to like build something or like plans going wrong. She seems really heartbroken, to be honest. And like, I mean, I don't say this like disrespectfully, but kind of like obsessed, but not entirely like when somebody is like obsessed but they're kind of crazy. It's not giving crazy per se. It's more just like when you really, really like somebody and like in a relationship, you like them more than they like you. And it seems like Jimin in some way or another ended their relationship. She's still not over it. But this is like not being able to build something, but her energy feels very wistful, almost like, oh, I wish it had worked out, or I wish things had gone differently. She wants his attention. He won't give it to her for one reason or another. I don't know if it might also be that like she didn't get proper closure. Maybe that's one of the things that's going on, because she just seems so like, notice me, and he's like, this is funny, you're like entertainment, which which is kind of mean. Whatever. The tower in the reverse position can sometimes indicate like something coming back around again, almost like incomplete business, almost sort of like if the tower in the upright is like the tower literally like being destroyed, and it's sort of like leveling the ground so you can build again. In the reverse, it's like there's something that is incomplete, almost like if you were trying to like bulldoze like a site to build something new, you did a poor job of it. This indicates that like I get the impression you're not going to hear the end of these two. Almost like she might do something, or fans might find new information, or somebody close to her might leak something. I'm not sure, but something around these two is not finished. I don't necessarily think it's like they're getting back together or anything, but it's sort of like you'll learn new information about their connection maybe. She might say something more. The world on Jimin's side is completion. He's done. He's over it. The energies between them are very different. He couldn't care less. He thinks this is funny. He is not bothered. It's like entertaining. It's sort of like, I mean, like the visuals in my mind aren't like really positive. It's almost like he is above her in some way. I don't think this, but like almost sort of like he's like, if she, okay. This is not my own doing. This is just like the vision that comes to me as I'm reading their energy. But like, I think Jimin, when I look at his pile, when I look at his cards, when I look at his energy, it's sort of like he is like standing and she's like groveling at his feet. But I think this is how he kind of sees her, but like less heavy-handed than that. Almost like genuinely, he like kind of finds her just entertaining. Like, I don't know if he really sees like the pain that she's in, or maybe he sees it but he doesn't care. And I know I'm painting Jimin in a bad light. I don't have a horse to this race. I swear to God, I'm not a BTS anti. I don't know a ton about BTS. I do like their music. Armies are gonna be like, I'm sorry. Anyway, but like he just like, he's not bothered at all that she's like releasing maybe private info about him or talking about him or anything. Like, he doesn't care. He's not upset or affected. I don't know, but it's sort of like, you guys did date. Did you end on a bad note? But the thing is, I don't think she did anything overtly wrong. Like, I don't think she cheated. I don't think she did anything wrong. She's giving kind of clingery, though. Her energy seems kind of clingy. And listen, that's not a crime. But like, her energy is very like wistful. It's like downtrodden. It's like, I want to talk to you. It's very like, she's like screaming in the rain is kind of what her energy is giving. I don't know what happened between them, but the relationship seems, we'll get there when we get there. Anyway, she got the Judgment card, which is about awakening. It's also about Judgment Day. And like, you see this horn right there? She desperately wants him to, this is why she's doing this. She wants him to like, no, it's not going to work, but it's like, talk to me, notice me. Like, we have unfinished business. Like, there's something about that. And I think, I don't know, maybe he like blocked her or ghosted her in some way, like privately, so she doesn't have like a private channel to talk to him. So she's doing it more publicly, trying to get a rise out of him. It's not going to work. It hasn't worked. It won't work. He thinks it's funny every time she does this. Not like, it's just like smug. It's just like, see, like, look, like, it's almost like, I think like if you actually asked him honestly, he would be like, she's kind of crazy. But in the way like guys tend to talk about their ex-girlfriends is crazy, I don't know if she actually is crazy. I think she's desperate and maybe a little unstable, but that's separate. Those are two separate things. We've all been in love. We've all been heartbroken. It's separate. And me ride. I have no idea who Daeun is. I'm sorry. I'm not riding for her for any other reason other than that's her energy. The Page of Wands in the reverse position is like they're never gonna get back together. I don't think. Energetically right now, there's no hope, Daeun, baby girl, if you're watching this, and you probably are not. Because the Page of Wands in the reverse position is a lack of passion, it's a lack of movement, it's a lack of growth, it's a lack of having the energy to make something happen. It also is sort of like, this card is like facing him, but this card is facing away. He's like, I'm turning a blind eye. I do not care. Like, he sees what she's doing and he doesn't care. It's like, I don't know. I don't think a big hit or Hybe are ever really going to address this again, unless she does something super like escalated in some way, but it's like, we're never getting back together. I'm never going to really talk to you again either, is really what his energy is. Two of Cups, that's like a contract that can be a unionship between two people, a sharing of emotions. She got the Ace of Swords, which is in the reverse position. That's so interesting. She got the Ace of Swords in the upright position in the previous reading I did. I said that was like, she's honest. But in this case, whatever. It might have a different meaning in this position. And then the 4 of Cups in the upright position is like giving, but it's like, sometimes it's like being unsatisfied. Sometimes it's also contemplation. Can I tell you something? I think their relationship, they did date for sure. I saw that in the last reading that I did between them. They did date. I feel like their relationship, I don't know if Jimin, how do I start this? I don't know how much they communicated well in their relationship. I think that was maybe a big part of their downfall, but it also seems like either they didn't have a conversation about exclusivity, or that's what it seems like, because it doesn't seem like outright cheating, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. This is not reading as like outright cheating, but it's almost like Jimin like saw other people while they were talking or something like that. There's something about that, because I see him like, especially because he got the world card, which is like, sometimes it talks about like literally the world and kind of like globe trotting, and this is like partnerships or whatever, and usually it means like a commitment to one person, but it also can just talk about relationships generally, and it's kind of giving like because I see him like talking to other people while they're together, and I really don't know when they were together. It's 2022, but I don't think that's been confirmed by any source. That's just like speculation or something. So like not like eons ago, but it seems like he just like was seeing other people, and I think she was hurt, but I can't tell if it's sort of like they just never set the ground rules. So it was sort of like, well, you never said I couldn't talk to other people. And then she found out and was like, what the hell? And it was like, we're not exclusive. We never talked about that. So it's sort of like almost like willful ignorance, but he knows like it's going to like upset her. But there's something weird about like, I see him like seeing other people and her being upset about it. But the energy doesn't, when I'm like, okay, is that cheating? The energy's like, no, it's not cheating. Or it wouldn't be considered cheating. Or maybe he doesn't consider it cheating. But she wouldn't, I don't think her energy's also like, yeah, he cheated on me. But it was sort of like, it's almost like he would do stuff that he knew would upset her in some way, but because they didn't have like strong boundaries or ground rules, it was sort of like, well, you never said, you know? It's bizarre like that. Or maybe she just had an acceptance because he's like, you know, super famous, and it's like, well, I mean, like, I don't know, like, I don't know if I want him to, I don't know if I want to make him commit to me. There's something about that. I feel like she maybe has like low-key like self-esteem issues, or at least did, and I say that so respectfully, but that's kind of what it's giving. Almost like she allowed him to do stuff because like she had self-esteem issues and wasn't like super comfortable being like, no, like, or almost like, I'm afraid to lose you if I like set boundaries. That's kind of what it's giving. And I feel like, I mean, he's young too. I'm not trying to say that like, I feel like to a degree he took advantage of that, but it's almost like he was like a bit thoughtless about it as well. Allegedly for Jimin. Our viewers are gonna get so mad at me. I don't think Jimin was like intentionally like being a bad person or trying to hurt her, but it was sort of like he just like really didn't care that much. He didn't have like the greatest care for how she was going to react to stuff. But this is like giving, and sometimes it's an opportunity, sometimes it's emotions, but it's almost reading as like I allegedly for entertainment purposes only, that like almost, but again, this isn't as heavy-handed, but it's almost like he's like, she's not good enough for me to like commit to entirely, or she's not complete enough, meaning that like maybe she has a really good personality and she's really hot, but she's not like you know, super exciting in the bedroom or something. I don't know. This is why it's messy, because it's like I just have to go with what my intuition says. I don't know, but there's something about like she didn't do enough for him. But like, okay, I'm trying to like say this really politely, but Jimin is kind of giving a little bit of a playboy, but more just like kind of like reckless at the same time, and there's sort of like an immature energy to it as well. Almost like he's not like super sadistic, but it's just sort of like he just doesn't really care that much. I don't know. But she got the Ace of Swords in the reverse position, which is sometimes dishonesty, but sometimes it's literally like a blocking of communication or not being able to communicate. In this case, I kind of think of it as like she just like didn't speak up for herself a lot in the relationship, and like boundaries were really poor, and like because I see her like clinging onto him like in my mind's eye, almost like she's like grabbing onto him, like, please don't let me go. But this seems like old energy, but she still really does care about Jimin. And I think you have to really recognize like BTS has a lot of fans. I would imagine she's a fan. I think most people, especially in BTS's highlight, you know. So I think it's partly like she really likes him as a person, but I think also she had sort of like some fan behavior that was like sleeping in as well, because it seems a little bit like obsessive fan kind of as well, and still is, but was also when they were dating. Fixed it. Okay. He got the cups again. See? Cups and cups. 3 of Cups, which is friendship, merriment. But again, it's like women. You know what I'm saying? Harvest. Like... I kind of feel like she thought that they could go the distance and like get married or something. I do think that they have known each other quite a while. I don't know how long they dated for. My guess, under 2 years, maybe, but I think they've known each other for a while, and I think their connection is very blurry, where it's sort of like we were friends, and we're getting closer and closer, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, we're dating, and then, you know, suddenly, all of a sudden, we're not dating, and it was very hazy. It wasn't like, we're officially together, and this is the day that we're together. But it seems like, I think she kind of thought that she was going to be the one for him. And I think she kind of thought she was the only one for a while, but again, they never talked about it. But it seems like Jimin, and I think I mentioned this in like a previous BTS reading, but like Jimin, I think it was Jimin, but it might have been like Suga, maybe. I'm not sure who it was, but I think it was Jimin. Where I said he likes to kind of party and like get around. And I think that's true. I just think Jimin likes to have a good time. And I said that in the last reading, and the energy is still there. Where, like, he just kind of likes to vibe, you know? I don't think he takes life too seriously. I mean, like, he's number one, very famous, and he's also an artist. And like, I think those two things, like, he just in the last reading I said like hedonistic, and that's still quite true. Like, he feels very hedonistic. He's like, girl. And then in the middle is like a lack of movement, a lack of transition. Sometimes it's a lack of communication, because swords is communication, and it's like unsteady waters. If let's say Jimin texts her today and he's like, hey girl, I saw what you did on Instagram. I saw the things that you were, you know, like, what's tea? I think she'd be very happy. She'd be like, oh, thank God, we're talking again. And the thing is, he's not good for her. I don't think he has been good for her. He's not good for her. I don't think she's good for him, but in a very different way. Almost like she idolizes him too much, and I don't think that's very good for his ego, and I think that's just not good in relationships generally. I think she has a lot of love and care for him. I think she would be very loyal, but there's sort of like putting him on a pedestal, which just makes the whole dynamic fucked up. But he seems kind of like, I say this respectfully, but the word that comes up is kind of like manipulative, and like doesn't really care about her, kind of treats her as a joke, and did in the relationship and does now. But it's sort of like she desperately wants to talk to him. She would love if he proposed, got down on one knee. Doesn't matter what the hell this man does. There's something kind of obsessive. And I'm saying this so respectfully, like, I'm on the girly bop side. I think it's tempered since they broke up, but I really, like, see that kind of, like this sort of, like, I really, like, he's on her mind a lot. The devil, that can be toxicity. It can be like, I'm toxic, but it can also just being attached to something toxic. She got the Page of Cups, which is young energy, youthful energy, creative energy. That's him in her energy, which is like idealistic, like kind of like, Jimin's like 30 now, right? I'm not sure how old he is. Probably like about to be 30. But I think they met when he was much younger. I feel like they've known each other quite a while in like different, like seeing each other at events, and then eventually I think they lived in the same building for a while, so eventually dating, to now they're not strangers, but Jimin would love if they were. But it's sort of like, I still see you as like that young boy that I met, sort of just like, I guess probably when BTS was at their peak. I just see her like staring at him with starry eyes, like, wow, like, look at him, he's so majestic. It's like, I can't judge, I'm not gonna judge. The Hermit is like, coming out of your shell, being more social. I see him wanting to like talk to her, or like, but it's not to like make amends. Jimin, I'm so scared. Reading on BTS specifically is very hard because armies are, you know, they can be kind of cruel. I'm just saying what the energy is giving, but I feel like Jimin is a little bit like toxic, kind of, because this is giving like, I want to talk to her because I want to see her crash out more. Because he thinks it's funny. That's what it's giving. He thinks it's funny. He's like, oh, this hoe. Like, he just thinks what she's doing is funny. I can't really understand it, which is why I'm having a hard time explaining it any other way, because I've never really related to this. Like, but, like, I just see him laughing. If she posts something or talks about him or, like, alludes to something, he's just like, here she goes again. Like, almost like he's with his friends, and he's, like, laughing at her. It's not with her. It's not, like, at the absurdity of the situation. It's literally, like, she's, like, a clown. Allegedly for entertainment purposes only. But she's like, she just is like, oh, love him. Like, this is him and his, because this is like artistic, creative, young energy. And the hermit is sort of like wanting to poke the bear. I feel like his company, I really strongly believe they sent like whatever the Korean equivalent of a cease and desist is. I don't think she's going to be able to. I think specifically his company was very upset when she released like video of him, because I think alluding to stuff, they're like, well, we can't really do anything, but like they were like, don't do that. We did not authorize that of our artist. So I don't think I think she might get around that somehow though, like telling a friend to say something, I'm not sure, or like accidentally leaking something, and it's like, oh, I don't know where that came from. There's something about this coming back up again, but at present she can't directly say anything anymore. I feel like she's gotten some sort of legal warning. Well, peace and love. Okay, Jimin will be on the left, strength. Daeun will be on the right. Oh, and this is the energy in between. The High Priestess. I want more information, but right off the bat, it's almost like he, for some reason, feels like either he has the upper hand, or almost like relieved, or like he feels satisfied. She feels like cold, but not like cold, like, you know when you're talking to someone and they're not giving emotion. It's not like that. It feels like temperature wise, like she feels cold almost, or like numb maybe. I'm not sure. The star in the reverse position is a loss of vulnerability. It can be a loss of hope or trust as well. And then the High Priestess in the reverse position is like a disconnection, especially when it comes to like spirituality or higher self or the right path. The King of Pentacles, like Jimin's boss, someone in charge of Jimin, like a Hive CEO. Typically this is what I get with like K-pop companies and like power. So someone's displeased that she's doing this. He doesn't seem to mind that much. She got the 4 of, I don't think Daeun's doing good so far, energetically, because the 4 of Wands in the reverse position is like a lack of stability. It's a lack of sharing and merriment, because this is sort of like a marriage card, or it can be a relationship card. You can read it tons of different ways. It can also talk about home, or like a feeling of safety with other people. In the reverse position, it's like a foundation has been shattered, or someone didn't follow through on what they said that they were going to follow through on. In the upright, it should be like, you know, 2 people coming together. In the reverse, it's like separation, but usually through like instability or like a lack of trust in some way. And then you have the King of Swords in the middle, which is like communication that favors him though, because you see like the sword and it's like directed at Jimin. It's masculine energy as well. They do know each other. I mean, obviously the video indicates that they do know each other. I think they've talked before. This seems, the way the reading is going so far seems more oriented publicly. Almost like, how does this favor each of them career-wise or in the public forum? It's weird. It's not really about them and their relationship, if that makes sense. Jimin got the 2 of Swords. This reads as willful ignorance though, but this can talk about a decision. It can be in the unconscious. You have moons right there as well. Water is emotion, but this is also kind of like not having enough information about something, or making a decision blind. But it also reads as almost like willfully so. Almost like, I don't think he will ever address this, but he might. But like, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like I'm stressed out. You know why? Reading on BTS members is why I don't read on them a lot, because armies are like a different breed, and it's like I don't want any heat. But Jimin feels very like, in my mind's eye, I keep seeing him laughing, kind of like I don't know how to explain this without like sounding rude. In my mind's eye, I see him like laughing with like his friends, or like laughing at his phone, and it's almost kind of like laughing at her. It's not as cruel as that per se, but it's sort of like, look at this girl, like, I think he kind of enjoys the circus that she's created, or like the drama or the attention. There's something about it that he finds funny, which I'm surprised by. Ace of Swords, I do think she's being honest, weirdly enough. But the thing is, I don't think they're on the same page, is also really bizarre. Because I think she feels genuinely hurt by either his lack of coming forward and being like, yeah, we were dating, or we are dating. I still don't know. I know that they know each other, or I don't know that, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. The energy is giving like they do know each other, almost as if they were like friends, or maybe even like hooked up. But the Ace of Swords, it can talk about the beginning of something new when it comes to communication, but it also sometimes can talk about just like being very straight and narrow, like you're speaking honestly, especially because you have a crown right there, which can talk about nobility or like goodness, you know what I mean? But it also can talk about starting something new. But it's sort of like her energy is giving very much like, I'm hurt at your lack of attention to this. Like it gives kind of almost heartbroken, but not as like as passionate as that. Anyway, middle is Page of Pentacles, which is giving. Oh, he might have paid her off, because this is giving to somebody. This can be you like this guy is facing in her direction. Pentacles can be money or something physical in some way or another, but it also can talk about like something being a little bit immature, but not immature, just like young, I guess is a better word for it. This is like messy. Okay, he got the 10 of Wands in the reverse position, which is like effort or burden. And then she got the 5, Wands again. 5 of Wands is like petty fighting, messy, like chaos. Like you see how like all the sticks are all over the place. No one's really getting hurt, but it's like drama. It's like messy. And then the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of Cups in the reverse position. This is like giving and taking. Oh, and this card can talk about the past. It can talk about childhood. It can talk about giving to one person something, especially if that person is younger than you. In the reverse position, though, their relationship, I think, is more complicated than it seems on the surface, but it's not complicated in a deep way. Because the thing is, I don't think their connection doesn't seem like, I mean, from what I've read, it seems like that people have been connecting them for like a while, since at least 2022. So like their connection is old in that way, but it doesn't seem deep. It doesn't seem, you know, like some people in like couples, and it's like they have so many like getting together and like breaking up, and it's like super like dramatic and like messy, and it's like I love you, I hate you. It's not that. It's very superficial almost, or there's a lack of depth to it. But like anyway, this card is like giving to something, but Jimin is like the younger person in this dynamic, and it's like I don't want to give to you anymore. And this is his energy is walking away from her energy. I can't get that out of my head for some reason. That's like so loud. Like he thinks it's like entertaining or funny or something, but in a way that I don't quite understand. And this is like no longer giving. Or sometimes it's like inappropriately giving to somebody. Moving away. Heartbreak. Ooh, okay. So he got the 10 of Swords. And what was this card? The 5. Oh no, this is with the 10 and the 10. It's over. It's done. Can I say something that, like, I think she was much more into him than he was into her. It's seeming like he almost kind of, like, used her for fun or attention or something like that, and she thought it was more than it was, and he almost kind of led her on. I'm sorry, armies, you're gonna tear me apart. You're gonna be like, Jimin's a perfect boy. I don't know. That's the energy it's giving. I might be misreading this entirely, but it's giving, like he, like, played her, kind of. Maybe for a fool, or it's sort of like he found her like funny and would like joke about her with his friends, like, yeah, she's like kind of crazy or something like that. That's like the energy it's giving. It makes me want to cry. I don't know, I think that's why she's crashing out, kind of, because she was like, oh, like I thought what we had was like real, and he's like, no bitch. okay, anyway. But this is a 10, right? And this is a 10 in tarot was like the ending of something, and this specifically she might have like, this sometimes can talk about being stabbed in the back. The other really weird thing is, if you'll notice, he got Wands and she got Wands, right? Which is like they're on the same wavelength. And then he got a sword and she got swords, which again is on the same wavelength. They absolutely know each other. I think they did date, but I think if you were like interrogating both of them and you're like, well, how would you describe your connection to this person? She would be like, oh, like we were so, you know, close, and it was such a wonderful relationship, and I really think he cared about me, and like, you know, I think sometimes we would fight, or like he would go off because he's touring or he's busy. And I feel like Jimin did not take her seriously at all. And it was sort of like, yeah, like, you know, we hook up sometimes, maybe. I don't know. We see each other, we have dinner. Maybe she stays over, like, but he did not take her seriously at all, and I think he pretended like he did, but to be honest, I think he was kind of like maybe either seeing other people, or she was just like a casual thing. Like, there's something about it where like she thought what they had was much different than how he either portrayed it or how he felt. Because I'm not trying to necessarily say Jimin intentionally like manipulated her or like did her dirty, because it might have been like he just like didn't communicate well, or neither of them communicated well. But the thing is, like, there's something like smug about him. This is the word I've been looking for. It's like smugness. That's like, did you know what you were doing? Like, I don't know if he like intentionally tried to like fuck with her, or like what the vibe is. Anyway, so 10 of Swords is the ending of something. Sometimes it's being stabbed in the back. Sometimes it's sort of like things are done. You shouldn't go back to it. Like, there's nothing to go back to. That's his energy. I don't know if he'll ever address this. I don't know if his company will ever address this. She might keep trying to like poke the bear, but it's like he really doesn't care that much. He's like, girl, like, bye. She got the 6 of Swords, which is like moving away from something, especially after being weathered. Like, if this is like a mother and a child, right? And like they're going away towards safer harbors after like a period of like great distress, essentially. So sort of like, I think she's sort of like, well, I think she was trying, to be honest, I think she was releasing those things almost to like get a rise out of him, or like get him to like talk to her, because it seems almost like as if he like ghosted her after like a long time, and it's like he won't reply to her texts anymore, for example, and now she's releasing videos and like, you know, more evidence, or just like kind of like making like subtle like remarks in comment sections trying to get him to say something, even if it's like, girl, like stop. He's not gonna. It seems like energetically right now anything can change, but at the moment it's like the door is firmly closed and she's like hurt. Anyway, this is literally heartbreak. The Three of Swords. Swords again. I'm never paying attention to everything at once. Anyway, Swords again, which is the Three of Swords, heartbreak, ending. Whatever they had, I think this is why in the beginning I couldn't quite tell if they were dating or not, because it seems like they would not agree on what they had. But I think if you were a third party and you were watching them, it's sort of like, you guys like are together, even if it's kind of casual. I think a third party would view it more casually than she would claim it is, but much less casually than he would say. He was just like, this is a fling, like she's fun, like I don't give a fuck. A third party would be like, I guess you guys are dating, like you're around each other a lot, like you're talking a lot, like you spend time together, you know what I mean? No one's gonna agree on this relationship. But energetically, it feels, I don't know. But that's the thing, is like, this is my own opinion, and I'm like, I think you guys were dating, and like, I just think you didn't really care that much, and you cared a lot. Okay. King of Wands in the reverse position. That could be Jimin himself, just because King of Wands is a very artistic card, flamboyant, sort of like, you know, out there, it boy, loves to perform, whatever. Fiery, passionate. She got the World card, which is completion, and the Sun in the middle, which is unhappiness or lack of illumination. Jimin getting the King of Wands in the reverse position, this might come back for him for some reason. King of Wands can also be somebody who is like, in the reverse position, can be somebody who like uses their power ineffectively. Sometimes it can be somebody who is like almost like, and I'm not speaking specifically about Jimin in this moment, but describing the King of Wands. It's someone who's like a little bit superficial and like vain in the pursuit of like pleasure. Hedonistic maybe is the word I'm looking for. It's just somebody who like is, think of like, I'm not claiming this is Jimin, but the energy's giving, like, think of like a pop star, and they are like so like vapid and superficial, and all they care about is like numbers and fame and like looking hot, that he just kind of was doing what the fuck he wants. That's sometimes what this energy gives. But I'm not saying that's Jimin. I'm so worried about armies being like she got the World, which is completion, but it's looking at him and he's looking at her, but they're at two different levels. I don't know. I really don't know a lot about Jimin or BTS and their personalities. I would imagine, though, if you're that famous, like, they're still, like, massive. A global phenomena, right? They're, like, the biggest boy group. They're some of the biggest celebrities. Most people know who they are. So I feel like maybe sometimes you could develop a bit of an ego. So I feel like Jimin, he cares a lot about his music and his artistry. I think he has a close circle of people that he does care about, and people who aren't that, he is, like, less caring. You know, I don't know how to explain it, but anyway. And the Sun in the middle is a lack of illumination. I really don't know if we're ever going to get a clear answer on this. I don't think Jimin will say anything. I think either his company or him were instructed not to, like, address it. Because I think there were mentions that Hybe was going to, and I don't think they ever will. She might have been either paid off or sent, like, a cease and desist or something, so she won't talk anymore. There's a possibility she will, though. I can't tell, but there's something about, like, she's been muzzled or limited in some way, which is maybe why you haven't heard more from her. I'm not sure. But this is also in happiness, so their connection. The thing is, she seems like quietly to herself right now, and he seems like he could not care less. That's really, like, strongly the energy it's giving. But, like, I also think she's slowly getting over it, too. It's not like she's in, like, the absolute peak of depression right now. It's sort of like, well, that happened, I guess. I do think this might come back around again. I get the energy that this will, like, reemerge. I don't know how soon that'll be, but I think there's going to be something else happening. Whatever. Page of Cups, that's young, immature, but it can also be, but, like, young, immature. Spirit really wants me to say that way. Creative. It can be, like, giving as well. It can also be emotional. Fruits of my labor paying off, and the Tower in the reverse position. Yeah, something's gonna happen around this again. I feel that strongly. I don't know what. I don't know if a third party's gonna come in and be like, yeah, like, I saw them dating or something, or she's going to release something, or maybe Hybe will eventually make a vague, weird statement. You know, K-pop companies, it's always, like, weird and vague, and it's, like, never just, like, direct. Fruits of my labor, did they pay off? No. She put a lot into this relationship, or maybe into him, and then he's just kind of, like, vibing. He's like, girl, I'm a pop star, like, I don't know what to tell you. Creative, just wants to do his thing. I don't know, they might, you know how, like, sometimes celebrities can be almost, like, emotionally stunted? There's almost, like, a level of that going on. where like you freeze at the age that you became famous. And I really don't know how old Jimin was when BTS like really took off, but there's something about that where Jimin really cares about, I think he does stuff for the plot too. Like he might have been inspired by her to like write songs or like melodies or something like that, but I kind of think he does that with a lot of people or experiences. Like he uses his experiences to feed his art, and so like that was beneficial, but he really doesn't like, I don't know if he always, I think he is a nice person. I think if you met Jimin, you'd be like, yeah, he's nice, but there's not like people are gonna get so mad at me. I don't know if I really sense like this underlying like deep compassion, bleeding heart thing going on. I think Jimin likes to have fun. I think he likes to party. I think he likes to be artistic. I think he does things for the plot. I think he does things kind of hedonistically sometimes, and I don't think he is always necessarily the most like thoughtful of others, respectfully. And this is the thing, that's not always a bad thing. So everyone's living a different life. The tower makes me think this is going to come back around. Or the other thing too is sometimes the tower is like withholding and like something big will happen later. Almost like she has like dirt on him, so to speak, or more information that could make him look bad. I don't know, because there's something about it. Like I really see her like sitting on something, or at least somebody. It might not be her, but there's something about it. I don't know if that big of a like information will be released, but something will be mentioned around them again. Maybe like he goes back to her or something like that at some point and there's more evidence. I don't know. But she put a lot into their connection, their relationship. The thing is, I'm hesitant to call it a relationship because he wouldn't, but she would. Death, that's a lack of a rebirth, a lack of growing up, essentially. That's what I've been like low-key kind of hinting at. He just seems like he hasn't grown up fully in all areas of his life, you know? I think maybe when it comes to romance. I said this in a previous reading about BTS. I can't remember which one. And I think it was Jimin that I alluded this to, but it might have been Suga. But there was something about, like, there was a member that was super, like, they just kind of, like, partied a lot and kind of, like, hooked up with, like, various people. And there's I feel like it was Jimin, though, where he just kind of likes to, like, be, just be of the town. You know what I'm saying? There's something about it. I'm not saying personally that he's supposed to mature, but the energy is giving, like, you need to level up now. Like, you're growing up. Like, his soul is kind of urging him to. Anyway, she got the Hanged Man in the reverse position, which is a lack of perspective. Almost like people aren't seeing her point of view, which I think is fair, especially when you deal with like a K-pop idol that people really love. It's more like she's in the wrong. I think a lot of people aren't necessarily thinking about it through her lens or her shoes or like why she's doing this. And that's making her almost like more bitter or frustrated. Almost like there's something else she wants to say. I can't really tell if it's like mistreatment per se. Although like this, I think what's going on, I mean, per the cards, I don't know anything. Seems a little bit like unfair, unkind, but and then the Two of Wands, which is like the separation of two things. Sometimes it's like a not starting something new, a poor plan, not being able to build something. I don't think they've been together for like a while, but I think I'll say they did date. He would not, though. He'd be like, we were just fucking. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know. They might never have had sex. But in one way or another, it seems like they were like, they went on dates. They hung out together. It was like there was like an intimacy there, you know, a closeness. Anyway, any final thoughts from the cards? I think you guys are going to get so mad at me in the comments. Specifically, the armies are going to be like, what are you talking about? IDK, dog. I just read cards. I just read energy. I don't know anything. Any final thoughts? Any thoughts? Focusing on the bright side, or like almost kind of sometimes it's like skipping like the grieving process. A lack of satisfaction, fulfillment, but also like needing to say something. And then this is boundaries, apprehension. Low key, she might have been like a little bit like clingy, or even like I'm hesitant to use this word, but kind of like stalkery-ish, but not as heavy as that, not as serious as that, but almost like she was just like too into him. Which you have to imagine, he's famous, like really famous. So I think even if you are like, even if you were the coolest person ever, if you were like a really big fan of Jimin, sometimes I think it's hard not to be like starstruck almost. But there's something about it where either boundaries were weird between them, specifically her, almost like she was too invasive or like too in his business or something like that. But I also think his boundaries were bad as well, where it's sort of like he wasn't quite forthcoming with how he felt about her. Almost like she's like, if like, let's say like they're at each other, like they're at somebody's place, right? Sitting on the couch, it's late, they spent the day together on like a date or something, and she's like, you really care about me, right? And like he's like, not really. I enjoy you. But he just kind of goes along with her language, like, yeah, like, I love you. And it's like, no, you don't. Absolutely you don't. And you know you don't. There's something about it where both of them had poor boundaries in different ways. Like, he would just kind of allow things because he thought it was, like, fun or funny. And she would be, like, too in his business. Because I see him just sort of, like, wavy, and I see her, like, darting at him. It's very weird. You know, on an energetic level, I'm kind of grateful that they're not together. Because it seems like they are not talking. They're not... It's almost like she does not have access to him, more so. But I don't know if they're that well matched for each other energetically. I hope she finds somebody that she really connects to and, like, treats her well. I hope Jimin... I think he has a lot going on that he's not addressing or facing. Anyway, with that being said, everything I say is all alleged. And with peace and love.